A visit to India. He has described this visit as the biggest trade mission ever sent to India, while talking at a business event in Mumbai. Keir Starmer was joined by over 100 leaders from the business, culture and university sectors in an effort to promote a recently signed trade deal. Talks on the trade pact were concluded in May after 3 years of stop-start negotiations, with both sides hasting efforts to clinch a deal in the shadow of turmoil sparked by US President Donald Trump. Let's listen into what he has said.
This is the biggest trade mission that the United Kingdom has ever sent to India. Obviously, this is a two-parter, if you like. We had Prime Minister Modi over to the United Kingdom earlier this year to sign the FTA, the free trade agreement that we agreed, and today is the return leg of that, if you like. That FTA is really important for us. It's the biggest deal that we've struck since we left the EU, and I think it's the biggest deal that India has ever struck, so hugely important.
Now, earlier, while departing from the Heathrow Airport in London, Prime Minister Keir Starmer welcomed the massive business delegation on the flight to Mumbai and invited them to explore and take advantage of all the opportunities India has to offer to the United Kingdom in the free trade agreement. Starmer is scheduled to hold bilateral talks with the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Thursday to ratify the deal and bring it into effect by next year. Listen into what he has announced from the cockpit of the flight.
This is the Prime Minister. I'm in the cockpit, and a very warm welcome to BA Flight 9100 to Mumbai. It's really fantastic to have you all on board. This is the biggest trade mission to India that the UK has ever sent. So I'm much looking forward to working with you as we explore all of the opportunities and take full advantage of the opportunities in our new free trade agreement. So safe flight, everybody. Enjoy the flight, and I'll give you further information once I've taken off. Thank you.
Excellent. A natural.
Now, for this discussion, we are joined by former Ambassador Ashok Sajanhar. He's a former Indian diplomat, joins us live from New Delhi. Thank you very much, Ambassador, for joining us. Welcome to NewsX World. Now, what are the key objectives for British Prime Minister and his trade mission to India?
Yes, thank you very much for having me on the show. You're very right. You know what the Prime Minister said. It is the largest business delegation that they're bringing to India. I think let's step back a little bit. When the referendum for Brexit took place in 2016 and when the Brexit finally came into position in 2020. Ever since that time, because the United Kingdom knew that it was getting out of the European Union, so it wanted to have trade agreements, strengthen trade relations with the major powers. I remember even at that time in 2016, just after that, Mr. Trump came to power in 2017 January, and he was telling the United Kingdom that USA will be the first country with whom they will sign an FTA. But we see that has not happened, and I think this is one of the first FTAs that the United Kingdom has signed with any country, and India is a major market, major economy. It's the fourth largest economy in the world. And this FTA is a very ambitious, the free trade agreement is a very ambitious agreement. It has 26 chapters and it covers everything under the sun. It's not only trade, it's not only goods, investments, services, intellectual property rights, there is agriculture, there is also government procurement. These are issues that India has been very hesitant in including in our trade agreements in the past. It also has labor, it also has environment. So it's a very comprehensive agreement. And I think it's today we see that the bilateral trade between India and the United Kingdom is in the range of about 43 billion pounds sterling or $56 billion. And then we hope to increase this to about twice by 2030, so about more than $110 billion by 2030. So these are ambitious targets, but since there have been such huge cuts, about 99.1% of goods going to the United Kingdom from India will be duty free, and about 90% of the goods coming from the United Kingdom to India will also be duty free. So I think there are huge opportunities. In any case, in the $56 billion, the balance of trade is in India's favor, which is a very rare occurrence because there are not very many countries. I think the United States might be another country, significant country with whom we have a positive balance of trade, but United Kingdom is another one. So we can expect our exports to grow, and particularly the sort of weaponization of tariffs and the weaponization of market access that we are seeing from the United States. I think this agreement comes as a huge source of satisfaction that Indian exports will be able to get new markets where we'll be able to significantly enhance our exports.
And Ambassador Sajanhar, since you've also mentioned the U.S., can you give us a little bit more context on how did this U.S. tariff disputes influence the finalization of UK-India trade deal?
Let me put it this way. I don't think it has had any direct impact as such because, as you mentioned in your introductory comments yourself, Asuma, that the discussions on this trade deal have been going on since 2022 when Mr. Boris Johnson, he came to India, and at that time he led the biggest delegation ever to have gone out of the United Kingdom, and he brought that to India. But the tariffs on problem between India and the United States has really cropped up only over the last 3-4 months, and basically it is discussions started. India was one of the first countries to launch these negotiations when our Prime Minister visited the United States in February of this year. And then negotiations started in March of 2025. And by the end of June, beginning of July, everything was ready. It was a very good agreement, good balanced agreement. That is what I understand. And it went to the table of Mr. Trump, but Mr. Trump was not happy. He was not satisfied, because he had seen that all the other countries, whether it is the European Union or it is Japan, South Korea, Vietnam, Indonesia, Philippines, all of them had bowed down to the demands of the United States, and United States had got by and large duty-free access to their markets while still maintaining tariffs of 15 or 20% on imports from those countries. So he thought that he wanted much greater access into India. But India has its own red lines, and we were not able to really go beyond those red lines, whether it is in the area of dairy, or it is in the area of some agricultural items, or it is in the area of genetically modified products in the area of agriculture. So that was one problem. So he imposed 25% tariffs on India, which was pretty high as compared to the others. And then in early August, he imposed a further 25% on the basis of that India was importing oil from Russia, while we see that there are many other countries. For instance, China imports much larger quantities of oil from Russia than India does. Turkey is a very significant importer of oil and LNG from Russia. The European countries are very significant importers of LNG from Russia. So he has not acted against any of those, but he imposed a 25% additional tariff on India. And it is suspected that since India did not agree that Mr. Trump had any role to play in the cessation of hostilities between India and Pakistan after the 4-day conflict in May of 2025, So he took it very personally. He was offended. He felt very peeved on this, and it was more as a result of his unhappiness and annoyance with India that he used this pretext, which in any case is not an economic reason, it's a geopolitical reason. So we are now having negotiations with the United States, and we are quite hopeful that we
Yes.
will be able to get a deal quite soon with them.
Yes, and Ambassador Sajanhar, I would like to also question about the history, the colonial history with the UK. How might the presence of over 100 business, culture, education leaders on this trade mission influence perceptions of Britain's intention with its modern relationship with India, particularly in terms of balancing historical grievances with future cooperation?
I think both the countries are really, we've had, of course, a troubled colonial past, but after 1947, when India became independent, India decided that it will have a forward-looking approach to our relationship with the United Kingdom. Of course, if there are any problems like we have today, there are some sticking issues like the Khalistani elements who are active in the United Kingdom, and they create problems for the Indian diaspora, and they also create problems for India from there. They come to India in Punjab and try to foment trouble. There are also a number of absconders, financial absconders, like Nirav Modi, like Vijay Mallya, like Lalit Modi. They have taken refuge in the United Kingdom, and India would like to get them back. So there are issues between the two countries, definitely. But we are looking at, and these issues I'm sure are going to be discussed when Prime Minister Keir Starmer is in Mumbai, and when the meetings take place tomorrow. But we are looking at what is it that this relationship can offer to both the countries? What are the win-win propositions? And I think in that context, the free trade agreement that has been signed and which will become applicable next year, I think that is a very important element. There are areas of education, there are areas of health, there are two big prominent UK universities which are establishing their campuses in New Delhi. We have about 170,000 students who go to the United Kingdom. In the area of health also, I'm sure your viewers would recall that the Indian company Serum Institute of India had collaborated with AstraZeneca of Oxford, and they had come up with the Covishield vaccine, which was supplied all around the world. It was of benefit not only to India but to the about more than 100 countries to which India supplied those vaccines. Also, we have a huge number of Indian doctors, Indian nurses who are working under the British National Health System. The area of defense, the area of science, technology, research, innovation. These are all areas in
Yes,
which both the countries can work together to mutual
yes.
benefit and advantage. And I am sure that these are issues that are going to be discussed when both the leaders meet in Mumbai tomorrow.
And lastly, Ambassador Sujanhar, why has Prime Minister Keir Starmer ruled out including a visa deal in this trade agreement with India?
I think we already have what is called a mobility and migration partnership, where we are, talking about that there is a huge demographic disadvantage in large number of countries of the West. India has a demographic dividend. India has young people, and they are well trained, they are well educated, and they can provide the workforce globally. And so also, I think, as far as the United Kingdom is concerned. So I'm sure there are going to be discussions, but maybe it is felt that it is too early to think of a comprehensive visa agreement, so to say. So it will continue to be on a case by case basis, when whatever talent, whatever skills are required by the US industry, by the US business, they will continue to go from India to the UK, and then they will take it forward on such terms and conditions that are agreed upon between the two sides.
With that, I would like to thank Ambassador Ashok Sajanhar for joining us and sharing that insight throughout this news. Thank you very much. Now we move on to our next news. Iris Stalzer, the newly elected mayor of the town in western Germany, is in critical condition after a stabbing attack outside her home. Stalzer was found with life-threatening injuries in the Ruhr city of Herdecke and has been airlifted to the hospital. The police has said that her life remains in danger. Police have also stated that there is no indication that the attack was politically motivated and that there may be a family connection. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz has called the incident a heinous crime. In a post on X, Merz has said that he hopes for the mayor's full recovery. Stalzer, standing for the center-left Social Democratic Party, was elected mayor of Herdecke in a runoff vote on September 28th. She's due to take office in November. At least 25 people have been killed and dozens more injured after a motorized paraglider dropped bombs on a crowd protesting Myanmar's military government. The attack took place during a candlelight vigil in Chong-U Township, where around 100 people had gathered for the Thadingyut festival. Witnesses say 2 bombs were dropped, leaving many bodies unrecognizable. Local reports described children among the dead and has said that the explosions lasted about 7 minutes. The People's Defense Force, which is a resistant group, had tried to end the event early after receiving warnings of an airborne attack. Protesters had called for the release of political prisoners, including democracy leader Aung San Suu Kyi. Amnesty International has condemned the strikes, calling it part of a disturbing trend of violence against civilians since the 2021 coup. The United Nations says 40% of the population now requires humanitarian aid. Now, this is all we have time for. We will